I-9 investigation found proposed changes to the Iowa's science education standards.
Now, this proposed update replaces mentions of climate change with climate trends or changes over time. KCRG TV9's Jackson Valenti took a look at this proposal to see how the language changes could impact teachers and, very importantly, students. Jackson?
Yeah, Beth, state science standards set the goal for what students should be achieving in their academics. One expert says changing the wording on subjects like climate change and evolution doesn't stop teachers from teaching them, but it could make that more challenging.
We expect science teachers to be teaching their students about science as scientists understand it. Now, scientists simply don't mince their words like this.
Tuesday, the Iowa Department of Education released proposed updates to the state's science education standards to the public. Among the changes, the phrase climate change now is not included in the standards at all. Instead, you see climate trends. The National Center for Science Education says the wording change won't stop teachers from teaching about climate change, but it could discourage it.
But it would make it harder for teachers who don't feel comfortable because they haven't had sufficient preparation for doing so or because they fear community backlash.
When I asked the Department of Education why the changes were made, it said climate trends is an appropriate term used by other government agencies. But when we checked to see what Iowa's neighbors do, all mention climate change, and only Nebraska mentions the phrase climate trends.
The quality of the treatment of evolution and climate change in state science standards does make a measurable difference in the quality of classroom instruction on those topics.
The Department of Education says the changes are reviewed by a team of teachers, families, and experts. However, TV9 obtained a copy of the documents that committee sent to the Department of Education, and it doesn't match the documents released Tuesday to the public. Here's an example. The committee's document on the left has a section titled Global Climate Change, and it discusses humans' impact on the Earth's temperature through practices like burning fossil fuel. The document the Department of Education released removes the mention of humans' impact in fossil fuels entirely, and it adds a sentence saying the Earth has experienced natural warming and cooling throughout history.
These changes send a misleading signal, a downright false signal, that there's something wrong with talking about evolution and climate change in science classrooms.
Now, the Department of Education is seeking public comment on those proposed updates, and it's going to hold a public forum tomorrow from 4 to 6. In the studio, Jackson Valenti, KCRG TV9 News.